Hey guys, man, I'm really excited about making my first YouTube video in quite a few days. We actually get to do something I've never done before, and I'll talk about that over and over a few times today because I filmed it at different times. We're robbing some honey. We're gonna process the honey. We may even, we might even bottle a little bit of honey today. So, man, stick with me. It's gonna be a fun video here on Tumbler Creek Bees and More. All right, so here we are. We made it back inside out of the ridiculous heat, out of the long sleeve suit and gloves. I ended up bringing 15 frames of honey in here, which, you know, it's about what I was expecting. I was hoping for maybe 18, but I brought 15 in. I left some out there for the bees to continue on with. There was some with some honey on it, but not a bunch, so I didn't want to bring partial frames of honey. But I did, so now I've got, you know, Honey Central in my living room. Fortunately, I did find some plastic wrap to cover my floors with. But you'll see I've got a few things in here. This is where my honey frames are. I left them here in my honey wagon I was telling you about. Now there's something kind of cool I want to show you guys. I'm going to get it kind of out of the frame just to show you what this is. I made a what's called an uncapping tub. It's actually made out of 2 totes. The bottom tote has a honey gate in it where I can open it up and let honey flow out. The top one has gunk in it. Right now, if you look at it, it's just kind of full of gunk. That is going to be a lot of wax, and right now it's draining. I've drilled 4 holes in this, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I put a screen over it. So what I'll do, you'll see how I use this in just a minute. But all that's cappings I've already done. I've done a few frames already. You'll see my uncapping knife and my uncapping fork. I'll show you what those do here in just a moment. There's a full frame of honey in there right now. I'm gonna show you what I do with the frame or with the uncapping tub in just a moment. And so what that'll do is I'll cut the caps off. The honey will flow out somewhat. The caps will land right there and make a big pile. And the honey will flow out the holes down in the bottom tub, and then I can recoup that later and use it. So that's kind of what this is for. So I'll just kind of show you kind of what we do to uncap it, and then I'll put it in the extractor. I've shown you the extractor before. If you haven't seen that video, go back and watch it. It's on Facebook about a week or 2 ago, Facebook Live. I hope you'll check it out. But anyway, here's kind of this board I made, and I cut notches in it so it'll just sit on top of that other tub there, that top tub. And then I'll take a frame full of honey. This one's kind of messed up, it's got beat up a little bit, but you can see it's capped honey. That one's real pretty. I'm gonna try and do this right-handed, or toward the right. I've been doing it the other way, but where I've got the camera set. And what I'll do is I'll just try and just come through here and just cut the cap off of that honey. And you see I'm taking that cap off. It allows that honey just to flow. Isn't that beautiful? If my arm wasn't in the way. So that's just beeswax on top. That's the cap. I'm going to separate that from the honey in this tub. It'll flow out. I'll leave it there for a day or 2 just to let it flow. I've got a little screw on top of that piece of wood so I can just spin it around fairly easily. And do the same thing again. Look at that beautiful honey. There's probably about maybe about 3 pounds of honey on this particular frame. It's a good frame. On this, I'll take the comb, what I couldn't cut very good. I'll scrape. I hate to do that because I don't want to go real deep and mess up the comb. That means the bees will have to fix it. So there it is. Now we've just got naked honey. I'll just take this. I'm going to set it down inside there. You can see there's already some honey down in there. I just set that frame. This will spin around real fast and sling the honey to the side, and then the honey goes to the bottom. Simple as that. And you'll see some frames have more honey. This one's kind of gathered in the center. A lot of honey. It's not quite as full as the other one was. And this is the first time I've ever done this. So you beekeepers who are out there, if there's any of you guys watching this, laughing, saying, you don't do it that way. Man, I am always open to suggestions. I'm here to learn. That's what this year has been about. Now, one thing I did learn, it was a little bit too late, is that if I put 9 frames in a 10-frame super and then spread those frames out a little bit, they'll pull the comb out a little farther away from the frame, and it makes it a whole lot easier to uncap. If I don't cut all the honey out of it when I'm trying to get the cap. Again, you are looking at inexperience in its prime. All right, move the camera a little bit. I've got 4 frames in here. You'll see how that kind of spins around, right? So it's gonna be crazy when I first start it, and the safety device, when it closes, it clicks a little button, and it doesn't work perfectly. So I've got to kind of stand here and hold it, but I got to stand here and hold it anyway, because it starts dancing whenever I turn it on. So get ready for a little bit of gyrations, hopefully in that, not in me. Nobody wants to see me gyrate. So there it goes. Woo! I started out slow and then build it up. There it goes, like I told you. What it does is, as it's throwing honey out, it evens itself out, balances itself out. And you'll notice I've got those facing the walls. I could actually put 8 in there facing the middle, but it just seems to do better. Everything I've read says it does better. And they said if you put 8 in there, it really gets to going crazy. So I can put 8 of these medium-sized frames or 4 of the large frames. These are medium frames, but I'm choosing to do 4. Putting them toward the wall, what I'll have to do is, after it spins for a little bit, I'll have to stop it, turn them around to face the wall, because it only throws it out toward the wall. And there it goes. What's really cool is, here in a few minutes, is that when I turn it over, it won't dance around near that much. And I'll probably turn it around, and I know I'm kind of in and out of the video, but I'd rather you look at that than me anyway. So these are much lighter. You can see a lot of that honey is gone, versus that side is still there. Honey, less honey. And I'll probably turn it around a couple times just to make sure, because it's so much more smooth as the honey decreases. Obviously, there's a lot less weight on there. That golden honey, beautiful. And look at that honey. Oh, there's still a little bit of honey on that one. That's why I turned it over a few times. There it is, honey spinning. Okay, it's not that exciting, but just wait, it gets better. Pretty soon we'll have honey flowing, all right? And then we'll have honey eaten, all right? So we'll let this spin for a little bit, and we'll see what happens next. Okay, so I've got all 15 frames extracted, all the honey's out of it, and it's now in this extractor. It's on the bottom of it. So there's a gate at the bottom. I can just open that up, you can see, and it'll start flowing out. Now you'll see I'm straining that honey. Any dead bees, little particles of wax, those kind of things are going to be strained out into the strainer. Note that there's a difference between straining honey and filtering honey. I'm straining this honey to about 650 macrons, which isn't very small. It's going to leave all the pollen, all the good for you stuff that you get in raw, unfiltered honey. So I'm just straining that out. to get bigger particles out. So that's what I'm doing. I'm pouring it in there. I'm going to let that thing pour out really for the next hour or so. It's going to be working on that. I'm going to have to close it and open it a few times to allow the strainer to catch up. And I'm just going into that food safe 5-gallon bucket. And I guess now it's just kind of wait and see how much honey comes out. You'll have to come back and watch to see that. The next video I'm going to do is going to be, we're going to look and see how much honey there is. After that, we're going to start bottling it. I'm going to show you what we do to bottle it, how we bottle it, kind of how honey is measured. There's a little bit of confusion there. Is it pounds? Is it fluid ounces? How do we buy honey? How do we measure honey? How do we bottle honey? We'll check that out next time. Along with, let's see what we do with all that gunky wax. See if I can clean that up and make it some kind of usable. So for now, I'm going to go ahead and go. You can watch this honey flow a little bit, as you can also listen to my nephew sing a really cool song that he wrote. Thanks for watching again. If you haven't subscribed yet, if you haven't liked yet, man, I hope you'll pound those buttons for me. Man, we appreciate you coming and watching. We appreciate you sticking with us. Man, this is the exciting part we've been waiting for on Tumbler Creek Bees and More. I cannot wait to see what comes next. I hope you'll come back. Thanks again, and goodbye.
I've chased city lights down the strip of Vegas, looking for a good time, losing all my good dime.